Burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno.
Burn, baby, burn. Hello there.
Hello.
Welcome to Bottlebrush, but disco lights. Sunday roast.
We're inspired by Euphoria lighting. We are serious YouTubers now because we have trippy lighting.
Yeah, we're a bit fancy here at Bottlebrush HQ in the van, ready to get back to another little episode of our Sunday roasty goodness. So, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's
Hope
do
you
it.
all had a fabulous week. Andrew just dropped something. I don't know what the fuck it was. What was it? We always fuck up. There you go, Dal.
Thanks, Star.
All right, so who we got this week, Fedordi?
Oh, good question. We have Calla Lily Creative from
Calla
the Hunter
Lily
Valley
Creative.
in Australia. His name is Rydell Njoko and his business partner is Dylan. And the boys, what are they? You want to read the spiel?
I'll read a cheeky email. So here's what they've sent in. Hello, Bottlebrush Films. Huge fan. Hope to see this video on the next episode. Well, you're gonna. So prepare yourselves. Okay, so we've only started shooting weddings January 2021, so they're freshies. A duo of 21-year-olds fresh in the wedding industry. We do photos and videos based in Newcastle, New South Wales. Excited to review this one because it's a really cool film. It's got a bit of a roller coaster vibe. It's fun, upbeat, then it kind of goes into some softer stuff and
Feels.
feels.
Yeah, it's
So,
diverse. It is a long one, so we're going to let a little bit of it play out. in the
Yeah, I think
middle.
it's like an 8-minute film or something like that. So.
Ideally, we'll be doing a lot of shorter films, but that's okay for this week.
Oh, ideally. Don't send us too long films, people. We don't want them. Joking. Send us whatever you're passionate about. Whatever you think your top film is, we want to watch it. So, as usual, leave comments. Feel free to submit. Instructions are in the description on how to do that. And
Let's get into it.
let's play some wedding film.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome everybody to an absolutely beautiful day. It's been a day long in the making.
This is already pretty good. The barrel roll was pretty cool. I love a bit of experimentation in camera. And the exposure is really good. There's lots of speed ramping so far, which we see a bit of, but not usually well done, which I think this is so far pretty well done to the music. What do you reckon?
I love it. It's a sick intro. It's like super experimental and it's really fun so far. Love the song. Love the cutting, pacing. The roll was really cool. I have no idea if it was done like in camera or if it was done in post.
Yeah.
Maybe both.
Yeah.
But either way, it's really cool. Like I think it does a full 360, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So I love that. Like as an intro, I'm like straight away, I'm like, oh my God, this is like captivating. Like you're fully involved in the film straight away.
It'll be interesting to see if they can sustain it.
Yes. The only thing I don't like is, again, when like the movie, the film just starts, like there's no easing into it. So there's like, how do I explain it?
So there's no
Like I think the audio just starts straight away. So like most people will kind of miss that first bit.
Yeah.
If they're watching it on socials and websites, people are fiddling with their volume. So I usually like to give it a second or two to ease in. And then also just the titles of the couple's name. I didn't even catch the bride's name because they were too fast. I couldn't read them. And like, I think having the white against the white was too blown out, so you couldn't read it properly.
Yeah.
But they're really small, tiny little technical things.
Yeah.
So if they just changed the colour of the couple's name or maybe left it on screen for longer, but that's just picking. But otherwise, sick intro.
Fuck, that's pretty good. I didn't think of half those things.
Really?
David. I couldn't picture a better person to marry my soul sister. You are hardworking, you're determined, you're dedicated, you're I can't read your writing, can you just read this?
Like that speech select for me, it's fun, but also without picking on like what the couple's saying or anything, is more like that's the stuff I would avoid putting in a film. Like, I've heard this a lot at weddings and a lot of people do it. And it's not to say that it can't be done and the people saying it's, bad or anything. But like that's, as a filmmaker, that to me is like a little more on the generic side in terms of like...
Too obvious?
It's too obvious. Like I hear a lot of people do they run down the list. I think people must Google it. They run down the list of you're this, that. Oh wait, was that, you're right? Is that what you wrote?
Yeah. Yeah, I think she executed it well, better than most people have heard say that line.
Yeah, I'm explaining this really terribly. I sound like I'm the biggest bitch. She delivered it awesome, and I like that it's being used in this film because the reactions are fun. Like, obviously everyone had a good laugh and all the reaction footage is there. That's why I kept playing it, because I wanted to see if the crowd laughter was worth it.
Are you saying, though, that it doesn't tell you anything about the couple?
Yes,
doesn't serve the story?
Andrew. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying. No, I mean, aside from that, it's just like if you're looking at being really picky with your editing and speech selects, I steer away from anything that I might have heard at a wedding before. That's
Generic
just a general rule. Yeah, generic's a mean word. Like, I think it's a funny joke, but I've heard it a million times. So for me, I'm like, it doesn't necessarily tell me anything about the couple. It's not unique to them.
Yep.
So I'd probably avoid using it. In this film, it works, and you can put it in and it's fine. But also, like, if you want to just really start nitpicking through your
Splitting
speeches,
hairs, yeah.
if you're splitting hairs.
Yeah, this is how we get better.
That's how we get better.
So a few words about Tiara. To say she's a positive, caring, got an open smile and a loving heart. She loves her family and friends.
And anyone that has been in the car with Tian when she's going through a road rage episode will understand how important that calmness is.
Mum and Dad done such a wonderful job in raising such a genuine, lovable, honest, charming, handsome son.
So I like that. That's funny.
That's unique to them.
That's unique to them because, like, so that's another example of what I was just talking about. That is stuff you might hear at a wedding a lot. Like, I've heard of a lot of the, groomsmen or stuff, kind of their siblings say that kind of joke. Yeah. But, like, not in that specific way. And I think, doing the head roll, the hair flick afterwards and stuff, like, that's charismatic and that's character. It's all character traits. Yeah. Which is probably why it works for the bridesmaid when she said it, because it kind of seems like a character trait. Like, it's funny. Yeah. But, like, yeah.
And before that as well, we had a bit about Tian, the bride, about how she was like a bit of a road rager. And I think Wedding Film 101, they showed her driving around in the golf buggy.
Yeah, yeah.
So these guys are obviously thinking about what overlay they're putting to their skeleton.
Yeah, what do I call it? I said it the other week. Editing for dummies. What you hear is what you see. It's tick, tick.
Tick, tick.
It's a compliment, by the way.
And Dave, you done it right as well, mate. You have a beautiful big head like a loaf of bread. And it's a magic connection that you're actually a baker.
I'd also just like to give a tribute.
Okay, transition critique time. What do you think?
It's my favourite thing to critique, apparently. Transitions.
So they run a speech over the change of songs there.
Yes, so he was still in his joking, as it were, part of the speech, and then it runs into, the songs just bled together. Yep. For me, that's like, it's just, it's not a great transition.
I don't think it was badly done, but it could definitely be better, right?
That's the theme of every freaking feedback we get. Yeah. It's fine, you can do it, but we're too nice to be mean. But it's not about being mean, it's about giving feedback. So basically for me, that's like a transition no.
Yep.
Again, you can do it. But I think it's that's one of the not best ways to do it, because really, like, it is confusing. Like, it's like you've just decided, wow, I really need to change the song now because I've got this really heartfelt part coming out. So instead of trying to figure out how that works with your story, you're just like, well, fuck it, I'm just going to put it in here and hope for the best. And it's like you didn't put the speech in first. Like, the music was maybe done first and then you tried to figure out how to put the speech in. Yeah. So it doesn't feel like the music's cut for the story and around how the speeches are formed. But as like a tip, like, I wouldn't, I'd probably let him finish his sentence, the joking stuff first, have some crowd laughter, and then maybe you'd fade out the fun song and then fade in the heartfelt stuff, the new speech. Yeah. That we've talked about this on past episodes. Like, we talk about it a lot, how we transition and things like that. So
it's
one girl's opinion.
We'll play it out to see where it goes.
Yeah.
To a special guy, Merv, Dave's father, passed away unfortunately, but I know his spirit is here. And I'm sure
it's lyrics. It's obviously a really nice heartfelt bit coming up.
Yeah, beautiful song.
Very stark contrast to the open. The lyrics just then took me out of that story. Like the lyrics just playing straight over the top of what he was saying.
Yeah, a little.
I think that's a good
for me.
No.
I
think, like, if they're not already, they should be using instrumental underneath just in case, so they can do that.
Oh, you're talking about that they overlaying.
Yeah.
I think because I always, so when someone's giving a speech, you want to try dub out the lyrical for the instrumental version. But for me, it didn't take away from it too much because like the lyrics are quite soft for this song, like the vocals, the way they're delivered. It's like they're very high pitched and airy, like it is that kind of song where you can get away with it.
I think the pacing in terms of like him delivering some dialogue versus the lyrics, like he was still talking when the lyrics kicked in, like halfway through a sentence. Is
Oh,
I think
yeah,
what
you
I
mean timing.
didn't like. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
that's
fair.
I didn't explain that very well, but that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, no, I feel ya.
Yeah.
He's looking down on Dave and his beautiful new bride with love.
I'm so sorry that Dad couldn't make it, mate.
Okay, so now it's a problem for me.
Yeah, okay.
Now it's a problem for me. So if it had just started with those first initial lyrics, then we go into speeches, and then we stop the lyrics with
Yeah.
the speeches, that can work. Like, that's a way of easing into it.
Yeah.
But I think now the lyrics are distracting from the speech massively.
Yeah.
Like, great song, obviously great speech, like, it's such a beautiful thing to have included. Like, it's probably going to be it will be really important to the couple. And I love all the shots. I love the look of it. It's just there's probably a technicality on how the music's mixed with the speech.
From a cinematography perspective as well, one thing that just sort of took me out of it a little bit there just then, it's obviously a beautiful moment, but the camera's going, duh, 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 duh. Get yourself,
Yeah, I know, but
yourself a fluid head tripod that's really, really nice, so you won't have that problem. It's well worth the money.
Yes, but
And I'm a little bit hypocritical saying that.
I feel like we're mean this week. What, are we okay? No, this is interesting because, like, yes, obviously that was, you were adjusting in that shot, and that's a really good tip. But I really admire as well that you have stuck with using that shot and holding it on screen, because that's what I would do. I'd go, well, do you know what? I am happy to sacrifice good cinematography
Perfection.
for a better story.
Yeah.
So that is what I would do. And I've done it on a lot of occasions.
Yep.
And I feel like people will often look at a shot like that and go, it doesn't look pleasing to the eye, so I'm going to leave it out. But I'm like, no, that's a really beautiful moment to include because he is really emotional and you want to see him deliver that line. So I feel like that was a good call. And not everything's always going to be perfect in camera.
We used to have this argument all the time.
We used
days.
to. So I like that you used it.
I would be frustrated that Grace wouldn't use my technically perfect shots and she'd use the shots in the moment that might have been out of focus or me a bit shaky on camera or all those sorts of things that weren't like technically perfect, but you've always prioritised story over cinematography.
Yeah, and I feel like you guys are so fresh. Like, these guys are really fresh.
Yeah.
And, like, obviously there's going to be a lot of kinks in everything they do until they get really finessed with it.
Yeah.
So, but in the meantime, I feel like make your choices based off story, not based off, what looks good for your brand in terms of, like, beautiful shots and all that.
It served us pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Know how much you needed him here tonight. But before Dad passed away, I had a tough chat with him about what he wanted to say here tonight. And here's Dad's message for you. Dion, you're such a beautiful bird. I wish the best for you and your future life together. He said, Dad, I'm so proud of you.
Oh, my heart.
It's really beautiful.
It's really beautiful. I really love that you've included the photos of the dad. Like,
Yeah.
that's obviously a great thing to be doing.
Yeah.
So it's the groom's dad, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. And so I'm assuming that's his brother.
That's his brother, yeah.
His brother giving the speech. I'm 50-50 on this. Like, I'm really conscious of, and this is probably really a specific opinion just of mine. I've had this before. Like, we've had this over the years where, the bride or groom's parent or someone close to them has passed away.
Yep.
And it's that really hard thing to handle in that becomes a wedding film and then a bit of a funeral eulogy vibe, and it is a really kind of like hard one to balance.
Yeah. Fine line.
It's a fine line. You've got to remember as well, it's a wedding film and you don't want it to be too depressing. Not that, I love that you've included this, but I think maybe there's too much of it. Like, I do think that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's maybe too much. Like, it's a really beautiful sentiment, but I think maybe just having the reference that the dad is no longer here and maybe a really small bit of him kind of losing it a bit, like having a quick cry and then we cut to photos and then maybe we move on.
Yep.
Otherwise it can really like sink a lot of people and it's hard. It's a hard one.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of thing. It's like, for me, it's like, well, you don't need to show people breaking down and crying to show emotion. And that's one that a lot of filmmakers tend to screw up in their early years is that we equate emotion to seeing people physically cry, and that's how we convey it. But that's not true at all. Like, audiences are really smart. People watching are really smart. The song you choose can really convey emotion, and this song really is. So it's like a double whammy. Like, the song is so... Oh, it's a lot. It's a heavy song, I feel. And then when you've got him breaking down multiple times, it's also hard for them watching, for probably the brother. That's a lot to see yourself like that into such a degree. So I think maybe it could have been hard. Like, you just use a nice line from him, maybe a quick, you know, has a quick cry, and then we kind of just, we bring it into a more positive light. I don't know. It's heavy. And so I would probably just back off a little bit and remember that, like, you can show emotion a lot of different ways. And when you've got the extreme of all emotional things happening at once, it kind of takes it to this really almost dark place sometimes.
So you're saying it's almost like when you've got such rich content to work with, it's almost a higher skill to show a bit of restraint rather than go all the way in.
Yes, so you always sum up my crazy head really well. But this is really nitpicking, and like I'm sure, I have no doubt this couple really value that. But this is when you get into the finer part. And this is really, it's great editing, great storytelling, all of it's great.
We're nitpicking because it's good.
But this is when, and this is when you get into the finer detail of like, how do you convey emotion, what is a good story, and what's too much. And, you know, is it a wedding or is it a eulogy? And, you know.
It's a fine line.
Also, you got to remember that I assume a lot of people do, you give the couple the raw footage and they have the speeches in full. So they could really watch that back in a more comfortable space for them, I think. It's a lot in a film, but
let us know what you think of that.
Well, can we have a little discussion about it, I guess. Everyone's really different. Leave a comment.
I feel like this whole sequence is like a family sequence, which you
it's
which
really
is something
beautiful.
I see you do all the time, which is really nice. Like, I love that off the back of talking about the groom's dad, you've got a moment with the bride and her dad, followed by their baby in the cart coming to see him at the ceremony.
Do you know what? It was so smooth that I didn't even pick up on it in a good way. Like, it just kept leading the story so well. But I'm glad you pointed it out, because I was so comfortable watching it. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, and I've watched this a few times and I only just picked up on that. And that's, like, it doesn't draw attention to itself. It just works
which is what you want to do when you edit. You don't want to draw attention to the story or the edit. You want it all to feel seamless and to keep flowing.
Yeah, it's really well handled.
No, it is. It's really good. Like, you're right. It is included all the family moments, and it's actually, that to me is a nice way to show emotion, like to have that montage of more of the family moments afterwards. So, 10 out of 10. Cinematography here. I like it. I like that they're new to it and they're covering it really well already. They've got like the shot of the groom's reaction, coming down the aisle, multiple angles. It's like, nice. Like, we weren't shooting like that when we started.
No. I think there's two of them shooting. I think it's Rydell and Dill as well. But like, hats off to you guys. The mix of frames is really good too. Like, you often see, especially when you got singles either side of the bride and groom, and then a frontal shot that they're all the same frame size. Like, they might all be mid shots. But you'll see further on in this that they've mixed up their frame sizes really well as well.
Yes, which I am a big fan of. You get in trouble when it's all the same frame, which you never have for years because you no longer do,
Gotten better.
David, do you promise to love Tian, forsaking all others for the rest of your days, despite her having a very good memory and it's not always working out in your favour?
I do.
Tian, do you promise to love David for the rest of your days, forsaking all others, and continue giving him back as much banter as he gives you? I do. To decide who will do their vows first, we're going to leave it up to Lady Luck. We're going to have a rock-off. I always lose. Today could be like today. Alright, so it's paper, scissors, and go on rock. Ready? Paper, scissors, rock. Oh, what was that? I think you still won. We'll try again. Paper, scissors, rock.
I think a little bit there too, you might need to just like hold the gimbal steady let that moment just breathe.
Yeah. It's so funny how we look at it so differently. Like the whole time thinking about story and music, and you're thinking about the gimbal, and it's not even in my brain.
What were you thinking about in terms of story then?
In terms of story,
Do you think that was a little bit too long-winded?
No, I love all the audio and everything that's being used, but I think now we're in like a fun part, and we've still got this really heavy song going, and I'm like, it's time for a change. We gotta change it up.
Yep.
Like the paper scissors rock thing's really fun and cool. And
you can see how they've got there. They've led into the family sequence, which has culminated in the child coming down the aisle to see.
And naturally vows come in.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple of sweet kind of fun vows, and the song's fine for that. But now we're into this paper scissors rock thing, and I'm like,
do you think that could be moved to a different part of the edit?
It probably needs to either be moved, or the song needs to go into some upbeat acoustic or something, or something not so. This is a really emotional song, and I felt like it needed to just be dedicated to the dad. And maybe that family sequence. That was really beautiful, but I do think like it's probably time to come out of it now.
Okay.
Yeah, I promise to support you and push you to be the best version of yourself while accepting when you do the same for me. I promise to make you laugh and to laugh with you. I'll always work hard to be the person you fell in love with, to be the best husband I can be for you, and the best father I can be for Ruben. You are the reason my life feels so fulfilled. I cannot wait to spend the rest of our marriage enjoying life together.
I'm not sure if it's our playback or not, but the music just dropped right off then.
I'm not sure if it's our playback or if the music's on. Can we keep watching? Because I want to see where it goes.
David, I promise to always be by your side through the good times, the great times, and the bad times. I promise to have a bourbon and Coke waiting for you at the end of the day and tell you it's all going to be okay. I will continue to get overexcited every time I pass you in my truck at work, even if it's the 10th time in 1 hour, because nothing makes me happier than seeing your face. You're the reason I wake up smiling every morning. You are my never-ending happiness. I love you more and more each day, and I can't wait to embark on this new adventure together. Beautiful, guys.
So this is definitely a different song now, right?
I genuinely have no idea if it's the same. It could very well be the same song, and maybe it goes into this different pace, or because it's similar vibe. But I actually have no idea.
But
you have
for
to do research on that.
For me, from a narrative perspective, it's not quite as compelling as it has been.
No, it's certainly dropped off, and I'm not going to lie, it's become a bit of a glaze over situation. It's like, what's happening now? And it's just kind of, everything's kind of just become a bit same.
And I guess that's the danger of if you sell like a 4 or 5 minute film versus an 8 minute film.
Yeah, this generally happens with 8 minute films. There's always a middle part that usually is a bit like, we ran out of time, or we couldn't put the time in, and it does, well, maybe not that, that's mean. Maybe there's usually a part where it plateaus. People kind of fall off creatively, and they struggle to maintain, like...
Yeah, the really excellent, so like 8 to 10 minute films are incredible, but it's because people put in the work.
Well, yeah, to every minute
to make it
of
all...
it. Yeah,
like all thriller, no filler.
Yeah, the vows there are nice. Like all the audio there's nice, but it's maybe just gone on for too long, and maybe you could have kept it all the same and just. When I said back that Paper Scissors Rock to put in a bit more of an upbeat track, not a full-on track, not your party song yet, but like a cool acoustic song, something just chill with a nice acoustic vibe, upbeat. That would have changed this whole section just simply by doing that one thing. So sometimes it is just as simple as music. Like the vows are nice, clearly like what the bride's saying is beautiful, and they're going to love watching that. But you just need to put in a different song. Like pick up your audience a bit and pick up your vibe. Give yourself something more to cut to as well. This stuff's really slow, which is really nice when you're talking about really personal, dad passing away stuff. Yeah. Because you don't want fast cuts for that. That would be crazy. Yeah. But
I really rate the gimbal work here too.
Yeah,
Some of the gimbal work's really good. A few focus issues, but like they're still early days, so
we still have them.
We still have focus issues. It's a live event. It's not a perfect cinematography.
It's a doco. It's a documentary.
Yeah, exactly.
He's hot.
It's not a film, baby.
Thank you.
They their vow, there's pledge their love, and there's exchange rings. It is therefore my absolute.
Obviously, a few issues with the recording of the celebrant's audio there, the line out.
Yeah.
they should. I don't know what they're doing, but there's definitely like easy room for improvement there.
Yeah, I would just suggest like if it. Yeah, I mean, I know I said before, there's like small issues in camera and stuff, like I would always use them for story. But what the Sullivan's saying there, like I can kind of tell she's about to kind of go, you know, introduce them as Mr. and Mrs. La la la.
Yep.
That's probably not essential to your story. I would have just lost that audio completely. If it's really bad audio and it doesn't serve the story either, there's no point. But
if they have attempted to record a line out and it's failed there, guys, I'd suggest buying a Sony TX660 as a backup mic to put on a mic sleeve on the mic, or with male celebrants I'll usually try and mic them up as well. Female celebrants you could too, depending on how comfortable they are. But yeah, just a thought.
can I also make one point? Why is all the gear named so crazy? Like, why is it TXX60? Fucking Detroit 2000. Like, why is it named all like that? Like, why can't it be like something cuter or funner or something more memorable?
Like the
who
Fluffy
remembers
Bunny.
This shit? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, no, what? I don't get it. Like, a dude's definitely named this stuff.
Yeah, it's because it's most engineers are dudes.
How?
This is where I like it.
This is where I like
This
it.
is
The
a really
music
good
does it
moment.
for me again now. This is
And
when
the-
it comes in.
Yeah, I like the mix of candid and the slow-mos, and it's to the music,
Yes.
which is really good. And
It
you
is
can see
tempo.
that they're like, it's a big moment, but they're holding on this frame.
Yeah.
I really like this.
I love all this stuff. All these shots chosen, all in the right order. This is like when your editing gets better, and like this is what I want you to do. But for that part that we just talked about, where we kind of glazed over,
Yep.
you need to put the energy you're putting into this part of your film now into the whole thing. Because like all of a sudden, like I'm sitting up and I'm like, oh, okay, we're on again. We're on.
Yeah.
And like it's exciting.
And that
because it's
doesn't
beautiful.
necessarily mean fast cuts, right? It just
No,
means effort.
these aren't fast cuts.
No.
These are like montage, really. The song they've used here is working now because they've embraced it with the pacing, and it's at the song's like at the forefront. Like we're done with dialogue now, we can engage in the music, and you've cut really well to it. Like the slow mo on when the song builds, like right on that beat, was like chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss.
Chef's
Salt
kiss.
Bay approves.
Salt Bay. No one's gonna get that. That's what he calls me. I'm salty.
No, but it's
I'm
really
a
good,
salty
and I absolutely am frothing the use of like handheld, like deliberately super shaky, running along with the couple.
Yeah.
Like that, they had the beautiful cinematic gimbal shot coming back down the aisle, and then a few frames later, they've got the like chaos and the like home movie sort of wide angle, low angle stuff of them both looking and interacting with the camera. I think is really well done.
We were talking about this the other week as well. We're saying like when songs are really hard, like this kind of song is quite like euphoric, even though it is slower. But you've used it to your advantage because you've put more of what you would typically say call the high-paced, high-energy footage with it, so it all feels euphoric rather than party. Yeah. Which this footage easily could have been party, like them kind of coming up to camera and running and you know,
it's really well
processional
handled.
coming down the aisle. So I love that you've chosen to do something a bit more advanced.
Yeah. Well
Good
done.
editing.
I love that they've. I don't know about the transition into the dance, but what I wanted to say was from a cinematography perspective, those two lights stick out like dog's balls.
Oh, I didn't even notice them. I do not. I don't know.
Anyway, what I was going to say is you got those lights on during the day. They're probably not doing a hell of a lot. Feel free to lose them or put them up higher or not use them at all.
Salt Bay.
Yeah, salty.
You're Salt Bay now. We're back. I was going to say, now I can see the lights.
You saw them straight away.
Yeah, I saw them straight away.
Is that it?
Continue. That's it. That's really it. That's I was just like, yeah, no, it does. It would be nice to have them not in that wide shot because it is a very clean slate.
And
like
if there's
the
two of you
backdrop.
shooting as well, mix up your frames for this dance.
Yes. I'd like to see some Oh, you're cutting me off, bro. I'd like to see some close-ups of the first dance because that's always the beautiful footage for first dance.
Definitely. May I go?
Yes. Spicy. And we both like, I haven't watched it this far yet. I watched like half the film before we watched it. Yeah, right. Well, go on. Your face looked crazy. You're upset, are you?
I'm just keen to see what happens next.
I'm keen to see what happens next.
Let's
You paused it.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Here I go.
Hey bitches, welcome to Jackass. This is Remy Brave, motherfucker.
I love this. I love this chick. 10 out of 10 for the Jackass reference, girlfriend.
What I don't love
Yeah.
is how heavily the music dipped for her to say the Jackass stuff. Like it dropped off a cliff.
Yeah, it did drop off a cliff.
Like you're building it up and all of a sudden you've cut your music down to such a low level that for me it took me out of it a little bit.
Yeah, I can't hear properly through this headphones, so I can't say if it was. It felt fine to me, but like I feel like different headphones. And I'm two minds about this. No, I'm in one mind. What do you call that? The film countdown. It's like an old vintage thing, right?
Yeah.
I think, I wouldn't go there.
No?
I don't mind that you've tried it, and it does what it needs to do. Like, it kind of gets you ready for the next section. Like, I actually think it's a good transition because, like, it is something that, like, I'm like, oh, what's going to happen now? Something large. And something large did happen, so it paid off. But, like, I think probably that one, I know, it's like it gives me iMovie vibes. I'm sorry, that's so mean. No, I mean because I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know if that was embedded in iMovie at one stage. Like, I remember using it in uni as like a countdown.
Yeah.
It is like, okay, to be fair, it is probably what all new filmmakers would do. They'd be like, oh, I'm going to use the
And to be honest,
things.
like, it's not necessarily about whether they used it or not. It's about the fact that they're trying these things.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's probably going to hold them in really good stead.
Yeah, I actually think it goes well, but I do think it's a little old. It's outdated and not in a good vintage way. It's outdated in an iMovie way.
You do that in 20 years' time, people will be like, oh, that's sick.
Yeah. Also, like, I don't know if I can recall so far, but I think it's mostly been VHS footage that's been simulated. Has there been Super 8?
Super 8, not VHS. There was
one
VHS frame.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, but
and the
it's
rest has
mostly
been
been
VHS.
Super 8, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so then it makes sense because I was like, that's a Super 8 countdown, not a VHS one. Yeah, so it is a bit, this is why it makes me uncomfortable. It is, we've seen, sorry, I sometimes take a while. It is like VHS and Super 8, I would probably never mix together.
Gotcha.
Because they are two different eras of film and you usually want to use one to your advantage. Like you might, so VHS gives you a really gritty 90s vibe, which is sick. But then Super 8 gives you really like very old school, more wholesome vibes, I guess. And I would never put the two together because they do the opposite things. And it's like overusing your nostalgic film flashback stuff. I just think
So
it's
you
too
wouldn't
much.
use a film countdown into something about Jackass because that doesn't probably mesh either.
No, unless Jackass did that and I don't know about that, in which
I don't
case...
think they did,
No,
no.
I don't know.
I think Jackass is like early 2000s.
Which
it's
VHS
not-
suits that, but
Yeah.
Super 8 does not.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of got to make sure. Like I know you're experimenting and sick, but I just think like if a future, I would pick one or the other and use it to your advantage and really drive home that era of film.
Let's see where it goes, shall we? See if they can keep it at pace.
Jess
I freaking love the way they shot that.
I love
It was a
it.
little bit static on the entry, but I
That's
like
still cool.
deliberately they're thinking about like this is a bit of pace, there's a bit of energy. They're letting the action dictate the way they shoot what's in front of them.
Yeah,
I
I really
rate
liked
that.
it. I know it was like a wonky one, but
Yeah.
that fits with the. I like it.
Yeah.
It fits the song's cool. I love the song. Also, I didn't say before when you guys did do the film countdown and it cut to black. I loved how you had the music play over the black first. That's a great transition. Like it cut to black and then it was like I can't remember what she said. It's like la, 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 let's get ready to go, and then it goes into it. That was fucking cool. I love that shit. Like you can just slow down, take your time, and like kind of tease something, and that's a good way of doing it.
Finally knocking at my door. My day up in the sun is just a ride. The world is mine and it's my stage. I'm owning.
They were cool cuts. I
Yeah.
just want to point that out because they're just cool. The
It's to
speed
the
ramp,
music.
speed ramp was cool. Cuts to the music, like bang, bang, bang. It has this really epic vibe. You were keeping up with the song, which is cool. A lot of people would be like, "Help me! I don't know what I'm doing."
Yeah.
Wow, I'm so mean to it. Salty bay. No, it was cool.
I love that they're experimenting with a bit of fisheye as well.
Yeah,
and
fisheye
actually
looks
making
sick.
it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, bravo.
Excellent Remy and Christian. The new Mr. and Mrs. Delaney, David and Tian.
Give me that money, now's the time. Get up, get loud, and show 'em what I'm.
I reckon their sense of timing and pacing is really good because they waited to introduce the couple
Yeah,
for the crescendo of the song.
Yes, whoever's editing this, I actually think their fast-paced stuff is really good because the intro was sick, and this is similar in vibe. It's really well cut. So I'm like, you guys, you got heaps going for
I reckon
you.
they probably watch a lot of music videos.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's almost your fast-paced stuff is better than your slow stuff, and that's saying a lot because most people the other way around.
Yep.
Like 90% of people. So. Well.
I'm coming alive. Ain't no stopping when I'm in the zone. Give me that microphone. Give me that mic. Give me that mic. Now's the time. Give me that microphone.
Sick.
That was really well
The
done.
Gorilla Mask was like epic.
And it played to the lyrics of the song as well. Like
Yeah, like,
obviously
give me that
paying
microphone.
attention to it because they say, yeah, gorilla with a mic.
Yeah, and even when he was coming in out, like he
Yeah.
to the camera. he
They're
was
obviously
on
having a
time.
lot of fun when they're shooting too.
Yeah, they are, and reception dance floor is the easiest stuff to shoot because that's when people are loose, having a good time. They're not worried about your camera, so people tend to get more into it for filmmaking. And you're a bit advocate of make sure you put yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yep.
For everything but dance floor as
Yeah,
well.
I was going to say last week we said like experimentation shouldn't be limited to the dance floor. You should be doing it all day. And I think these guys, and it helps being fresh and new and unafraid. Like it's really good that they're not scared to try new things right through the day. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, from a stories perspective, so this end of the film, like it's obviously the party section, like we've had the countdown and then we've gone into party section. I think I like it as a section, but when you look at the film as a whole, I feel like there's a few flaws there. Like the story has completely disappeared. Like it's been shoved in at the end. It's been shoved in really well, but it's all the audio's disappeared. And I do feel like maybe that could, as when you look at the film as a whole, that ending could have been elevated and made more sense to the full film if we maybe had a wrap-up speech, like, I don't know, something from the bride or groom, like towards the end of their speech saying like, I love you so much and I can't wait for our future and whatever it is they say.
Just to finish it off.
Just to finish it off and like keep that story constant because it does like, we've had some really heavy stuff throughout this film, like really heartfelt stuff, and then it went for a long time. And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, all right, we're going to shove this party section but give it no context for the story. Like just because it happened at the wedding doesn't mean it anything can be justified as part of the story. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm talking about speeches specific.
Yeah.
God, sometimes I'm like, what are you saying, Grace? Like, where am I?
No,
does that
but
make sense?
you mean like the party section, it could have ended before the party section started because there was no narrative to link the party section to the rest of the film.
I just think the party section was cool, but it was missing any link to the story, and you could have probably put in some speeches or something in there just to kind of wrap it up. And I know there was a little speech there introducing them, but that's I would call that a little grab. I wouldn't call that story. So
Cut away, more so than narrative.
Yeah, I think you kind of need to keep pushing like a little further to keep kind of reaming home your narrative a bit. So maybe next time I would challenge yourself, like with the party section for this kind of particular cut. Yeah, what else can you do with it? Can you elevate it with story as well?
Because one of our common criticisms is like this part is like its own wedding film and this part is like its own wedding film, and they've just been jammed together.
Pushed together. Yeah, that's why I talk about looking at the film from a whole. Like you really need to look at how your narrative is arching, like your beginning, middle, and end. But where's the end for this? There isn't any. There's just it's a montage. It's cool. It's good. It does what it needs to do. But
and I'm guessing that's part of the reason that you do what you call your skeleton, like all of your narrative to music from the start before you start laying any overlay.
That solves any problems you have.
Yeah.
Basically.
So you can make sure that the whole thing's connected from a narrative perspective.
Yeah. So when you're opening your film has some kind of like continuation to the ending. Like it links and everything makes sense. So, but yeah, I still loved it. I still thought it was really cool. I like the ending, the dry cut on the beat. That was really dope.
Yeah.
There's a lot to love. A lot to love.
Well done, guys.
I know, and yeah, again, like we've got a lot of beginners
Yeah.
sending films in, and it's actually blowing my mind how good they are.
Oh man, we
Like,
probably
this is
wouldn't
a
have been
great
making
film.
something like that till year 4 or 5.
January 2021, I think it was. That's amazing. That's when you started. What are we in? March 2022? Are we? Where am I?
We're in the future.
We're in the future. We're in the future. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, we weren't too harsh this week.
Yeah.
I was in a bit of I wasn't a salty mood, but I really love the film. That's why I reviewed it. You know, we have a lot sent in, and you know, we're trying to pick a good diversity of them, and yours really captured us.
Yeah, let us know if there's anything you agree with or disagree with in the comments.
Yeah.
Is that what YouTubers do?
I don't know, man. I'm not a YouTuber.
Yeah, and thanks for participating, and this has been a Sunday roast.
Bye, bitches.
Peace. Boys.
Aren't you going to fade to black?
Oh, wait, I think I know how to do that.
Fade to the black, black fade.
No, I don't know how to do that.
Okay. Then cut now, Grace.